Prabhuji, can you remove the harmonium? Let it down. Prabhu wants to play.
Hare Krishna. Good morning. Welcome all of you to this third day of our Gita celebrations. So today, Srimad Bhagavatam Dham will be given by His Holiness Guruprasad Swami. Maharaj is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He got initiated in 1876 at the Mayapur festival. He attended. He took sannyas in 1982. It's been like 41 years. He's been practicing his sannyas action. Maharaj is very simple. He's an extremely dedicated sadhaka. This is the most important qualification for him.
You got it. The second one. There's one more bite.
Maharaj preaches North America, Central America, South America, and the rest.
Thank you. Sorry, charges. The laptop.
One of the important things in ISKCON we need the most is cooperation among devotees. So that's one of Maharaj's focus areas. Continues his job is emphasis on devotees to focus, communicate better. He's spending a lot of time to educate more chance of communicate better, cooperate better. Maharaj has been very kind to bless us with this event. Actually, he lives just 1 hour away. Actually, with the Parliament German back on the way to Madrid yesterday. And Sarvajay Madhav keeps wondering always what is the coincidence that starting this project here, and Maharaj is he's now the vice chairman of ABC, and in a few months he's going to be the ABC chairman next year. So we are starting a project at this home practically. So that's a coincidence. And thank you, Maharaj, for blessing us. We look forward to it.
Krishna. So now that you've heard all of my upadis, may mercy and help me get rid of them. So today, I'd like to read a verse Navadvip Dham. This is the first canto, 10th chapter, text 11 and 12. And I think today I'll emphasize a little more, as the emphasis has been more on community building, which is wonderful and necessary, but to concentrate a little more on devotee care, which is, without devotee care, how can there be any community? We've seen this, unfortunately, in different places, different times, so much emphasis on expanding that it becomes sometimes a bit mechanical, and devotees get neglected, which is something that we cannot tolerate. Srila Prabhupada in 1972, he wrote 5 letters that I know of, where he spoke about boiling the milk. I was speaking to Vatsal Prabhu about this yesterday. Before all of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada disappear from the planet, we should boil the milk and make sure that we have nice, pure Krishna consciousness for the ongoing generations. I'll speak a little bit more about that in the course of the lecture.
What was the canto chapter and verse again?
Yeah, first chapter 10, 11 and 12.
1, 10, 11.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sangamukta Dusango. Atum Notsahate Buddha. Yudyamanam Yasho Yasya. Sakrit Akanya Rochanam. Tasmin Yasta Diya Parta. Vedam Viramam Katam. Darshana Sparsha Samdhapam. Srinasana Bhojanai. Maybe one verse at a time. One repeats 11 and someone else can repeat 12.
Satsangan Mukta Dushango. Which notes Sahate Buddha. Yutanyamanam Yasho Yasya. Krida.
Tasmin yastadhiya partha. Sahiran viraham katham. Darshana sparsha sanglapa. Shayanasana bhojanai. Satsanga mukta dushango. Atum nustate buddha. Ityamanam yasho yasya. Akaranya rochanam. Tasmin yastadhiya paratha. Viraram katham. Darshana sparsha samprapa. Shanasana bhojanai.
Adum not sahate Buddha. Kirtanam Yasoyasha Sakatakarnaya Rochanam Darshana Sarjanta Ayana Sana Bhojanai
Satsangat by the association of pure devotees. Mukta Dusanga, free from bad materialistic association. Atum, to give up. Na utsahate, never attempt. Buddha, one who has understood the Lord. Vidyamanam, glorifying. Yasha, fame. Yasya, food. Sakrit, once only. Akarnya, hearing only. Rochanam, pleasing. Tasmin, unto him. Yastadiya, one who has given his mind unto him. Partha, O sons of Pitta, Sahiran, can tolerate. Viraham, separation. Patam, how. Darshana, seeing face to face. Parshala, touching. Samlapa, conversing. Shayana, sleeping. Asana, sitting. Bhojanai, dining together. Translation, purport by the Divine Grace Prabhupada. The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and have become freed from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate this separation? For they had been intimately associated with this person, seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him. So everyone can say, repeat, the intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord, association with pure devotees, and have become free from bad materialistic association, never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate this separation? For they had been intimately associated with this person, seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him. The living being constitutional position is one of serving a superior. He is obliged to serve by force the dictates of illusory material energy in different phases of sense gratification. And in serving the senses, he is never tired. Even though he may be tired, the illusory energy perpetually forces him to do so without being satisfied. There is no end to such sense gratificatory business, and the conditioned soul becomes entangled in such servitude without hope of release. The release is only effected by association with pure devotees. By such association, one is gradually promoted to his transcendental consciousness. Thus, he can know that his eternal position is to render service unto the Lord and not to the perverted senses and the capacity of lust, anger, desire to lord it over, etc. Material society, friendship, and love are all different phases of lust. Home, country, family, society, wealth, and all sorts of corollaries are all causes of bondage in the material world, where the threefold miseries of life are concomitant factors. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurvani Pradhani Nirvishesha Shunyagadi Prasyadari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But stop here, the purport, because it's Kali Yuga and it's very easy to forget things. So I don't forget stuff that Srila Prabhupada said in that purport. First of all, in the verse itself, the intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and have become freed from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord. So these are the two qualifications for being fixed in Krishna consciousness. The Srila Prabhupada says, by such association, one is gradually promoted to his transcendental consciousness. I always found that to be an interesting statement. Srila Prabhupada says again and again and again, and we emphasize, going back to Godhead. But here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that going back home, back to Godhead, is not necessarily displacement from physical displacement. Of course, there's really no physical displacement. Being displaced from the body. Just like the other day in Mayapur, somebody brought me this mosquito repellent. Said, yeah, it sends mosquitoes away. And I said, yes, sends them away from their bodies. No. So that's not necessary. Actually, it's risky. So the two things have to be there. Being attached to the Lord through his pure devotee. And this is an essential factor of community, how important community is. The association of devotees. One verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I can remember it. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hari Sadhu Sangha. That the essence of spiritual life of Krishna Bhakti is association with devotees. And then Krishna Prema Chanvi Tengho. Ayurukya Sangha. That Gukya Anga, the most important thing, even when we're situated in Krishna Prema, is the association of Vaishnava. So this is the necessity of community. We can't practice Krishna consciousness on our own. Many times Srila Prabhupada will say about sannyasis that they should be alone. One time Srila Prabhupada said, either a sannyasi should learn to love Krishna, or he will feel very lonely. But that doesn't mean that they're without the association of devotees. It means, as Srila Prabhupada says here in the purport, we're without society, friendship, love, home, country, family, society, wealth, and all sorts of corollaries. So this is what it means by giving up bad association. And some of those things, we would not qualify them as bad association, like most people think home, family, friend, it's all Omega Jadi, as it says in the Bhagavad Dham. My place of birth is very sacred. So one time I was doing Sankirtan in New Mexico, and this one place, I mean, there was not a plant. You could not see a visible living being anywhere, just stand. And we came to a gas station, and I said, those days there was still a gas attendant. Difficult to find one in this country. So I said, what a place. He said, yes, isn't it beautiful? He was very attached to home. Of course, if our home is dedicated to serving the deity, Srila Prabhupada, chapter, second canto, third chapter, text 23, he speaks about that, especially in Grihastha life, that serving the deity is very important because it regulates one's life. Because one in Grihastha, especially if one is working and maintaining the family, that there are many distractions, and worshiping the deity maintains one fixed, or one time is fixed, because so many demands on time. Go to work, work for a certain amount of time, come home, family demands. Instead of dealing with one mind, you have to deal with 2 or 3 or 4 minds. And it's a very challenging situation. My hat's off to all the Custis for this wonderful service. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that I would have been a great husband, but I don't think I could have, maintained my Krishna consciousness. He was saying the same thing. That Grihastha life, if it's performed properly, then home is worshipable. One of the 5 factors that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave as the essential principles of Krishna consciousness is Mathura Bhakta, that we should live in Mathura. And since we're in South Texas or some Idaho or some other place, we have to bring Mathura to our home. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I see the Ganga running through my home. See this. And so home, family, if the family is Krishna conscious, it's very wonderful. But generally speaking, even for devotees, sometimes these things can be bewildering. And so we have to have the association of Vaishnava. Now, that community building becomes more of a challenge in our present environment of Krishna consciousness, where so much emphasis is on congregation, and many congregations are not centered as before around a temple or a community that is existing. But many people have received Srila Prabhupada's books. Just like there was one family in Tennessee, and they received Prabhupada's books. They'd never met the devotees other than that they got a set of Bhagavatam. And they never met devotees. And then after like 12 years, some devotees came by, and of course they recognized the devotees, they invited them. And they were doing everything just from Prabhupada's book. They were getting up, having Mangalarti, chanting 16 rounds minimums. And they said, but now our process is finished because we read so many times we need the association of devotees. And now we have it. But the devotees said, but you already have association with devotees because by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, you have become devotee. So now more than ever, the emphasis on Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya becomes an essential factor in creating the greater Krishna conscious community. Because we have many gurus, even in my opinion, there's a little too much emphasis on Diksha, not enough on Shiksha, which tends to kind of divide us. we're not careful to instill within the hearts of those devotees who may take initiation from someone. Actually, I've been reflecting lately in how Srila Prabhupada, he, in one sense, reestablished the circumstances that existed at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because for the first time, since the disappearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his intimate associates, there is a movement where there are many people initiating. Just like at the time of Mahaprabhu, there were many people giving initiation, but everyone was inspired by that person who inspired them the most. It may be their Diksha Guru, it may be their Shiksha Guru. So this is a unifying factor. That if we understand that Srila Prabhupada said in his very famous Vyasa Puja offering, which gained special recognition from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, Guru is not a person, Guru is a principle. It's not one person, although we have one person as the Diksha Guru, but the principle of Guru is existing everywhere. Even sometimes when I see flies, especially the flies in the Dalvin, they're especially empowered to do their duty. You can go like this and that, and they'll just come around faster than you could move your hand. And so I was admired, what determination, good have Rata. So we can see Guru everywhere, as the Avadutta Brahman teaches us in the Bhagavatam. And the more we do that, the more we see. So Srila Prabhupada has established, by establishing this worldwide Krishna consciousness movement, a unifying factor, a community building factor, which is, since the time of Mahaprabhu, has not been there, and even greater. Just like Thomas Hopkins said in a famous lecture at Harvard, he said that compared to Srila Prabhupada, I can only think of two persons, Jesus Christ and Muhammad. But he said, even they had some help, but Srila Prabhupada had no help whatsoever. He came practically empty-handed and established Krishna consciousness all over the world. It's such an unbelievable. Of course, there are many wonderful devotees who have done wonderful things before the time of Srila Prabhupada and within Srila Prabhupada's movements, and will continue to do so. But this unifying factor is such an important thing to build a community, and also for devotee care. The more we can see how devotees, just like it says here in this verse, are unified by these two things, following the pure devotee and giving up bad materialistic association. There's no one that I've ever heard from who is so expert at destroying the concept of materialistic association than Srila Prabhupada. One professor once in Dallas many, many years ago, I think that was 82. Well, so one professor, he was asking me, he said, why did Prabhupada keep saying we're not this body? It's enough, I've heard him 2 or 3, 5 times, but he says it everywhere in every book. Right, so he had a package of cigarettes in his pocket. But I said, oh, you smoke? Can you give me your pack? I said, see right here, it says, smoking cigarettes can be dangerous to your health. And even though it says that, and you're a very intelligent professor with great intellectual capacity, you're still smoking. So therefore you have to read this again and again and again. And therefore Srila Prabhupada wanted us to understand that we're not this body. Because as long as we identify subtly or grossly or subtly means that we may theoretically understand that I'm not this body, but we still act as if we are this body. So This is such an important thing. As was emphasized in yesterday's Bhagavatam, well, there were 2 Bhagavatam classes and, well, 3 Bhagavatam classes. And that we just have to learn to follow Krishna's desire. As I mentioned the other day, people ask me all the time, can you give us blessings? I give them Bhagavad Gita. There's 700. We have many thousands more blessings for you. So Krishna is giving us his mercy, and his mercy, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that a devotee should be willing to accept Krishna's mercy in any circumstance. Whatever difficulties come within the mind, or whatever happiness or conception of happiness that may also occupy our mind, we should be fixed in serving Krishna. And the only thing, without any motivation and without any detention, we should be totally absorbed. And of course, one of my favorite verses of the Bhagavatam, which illustrates this point, spoken by Lord Brahma, famous verse, to bhunjana means that one should tolerate, one should accept whatever comes in the form of Krishna's mercy. And for a devotee, everything is Krishna's mercy. There's nothing beyond Krishna's mercy when we're actually Krishna conscious. So how do we get to that stage? Bhunjana eva atmakrita. Atmakrita is very important. We have to understand however Krishna's mercy is coming to us depends on our atmakrita, what we've done in the past, what we're doing presently, what our present mentality is. And not, as was mentioned yesterday, don't blame it on Krishna. No. And because you don't blame it on Krishna, and because whatever's happening to me, although sometimes we do that in a very subtle way. Krishna, I've surrendered my life to you. Why are you putting me through this? But if we understand this essential point, that there's nothing happening to me that can be outside the realm of Krishna's desire, either directly or indirectly. Indirectly, swabhavaki yanavagakriyacha. Krishna's energies are acting automatically. He's not exerting himself. As Krishna also mentions in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that I'm not punishing, I'm not rewarding. It's simply happening by the forces of the modes of nature. And but if someone is dedicated to me, then I bless them, because Krishna will give us proportionately what we give to him. But if we give 100%, then Krishna can give unlimited percentage. Just like in the story of Sudam Brahma, I make this point many times. The Sudam Brahma, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes this observation. Sudam gave more than he had. And Krishna was thinking, my devotee has defeated me, because I cannot give more than I have. I have everything. I possess everything. And therefore, my devotee has defeated me. So this is Krishna's desire, that his devotee defeats him. But of course, the devotee doesn't want to defeat Krishna. But what are the factors? Good bhag, bhakobir, vidatan, namaste. Lord Brahma continues that simply all of your feelings, all of your words, and all of your activities, offer them totally to me. And then Jivanti Muktapade Satayava. And then you will receive your natural inheritance, Srila Prabhupada. and explains it that way, inheritance. It's actually an inheritance. Krishna conscious, because Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Satyakali knowing. Krishna consciousness always exists within our heart. Just sometimes it's latent, sometimes it's manifest. And it becomes manifest by the association of the devotees and giving up that association. So, devotee care. Well, let me go ahead and finish the purport first before moving to another point. By associating with pure devotees and by hearing them submissively, attachment for material enjoyment becomes slackened. And attraction for hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord becomes prominent. So here's the actual formula for situating ourselves in such a way that we can become instruments for the upliftment of other Vaishnavas. We associate with pure Vaishnava. That associating with devotees is greater than any heavenly accomplishment, greater than liberation, greater than everything that we could possibly achieve. And by that, the more association that we get, especially doing what we're doing now, coming together, this is like a maha injection of Krishna consciousness. But daily, we have to associate with Vaishnava. Daily, we have to do so. And, for grihastas, that means your family. For brahmacharis, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, that means wherever you're residing, you must be residing in some place where there are Vaishnavas. Unless you're, on the level of Haridas Thakur. But he would also associate with Vaishnava. Even though he could do without it, he didn't do without it. He taught us that by his leaving this world, he could not tolerate, just as this verse says, he could not tolerate the idea of being separated from Mahaprabhu. So he said, please grant me my wish. But Mahaprabhu said, well, I have a problem with that because I can't live without you. So how will we resolve this? So Harinath said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the giver of all mercy and transcendental consciousness. So please grant me this wish. I never wanted to ask you for anything, but I must ask you for this. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put his lotus feet on Sri Harinath Thakur's heart and granted the wish. So this is our wish. And this is being stated here in this verse, that by this association, by always thinking of the Lord, by being associated with the Lord as intimately as the Pandavas. Now, one may say, how can I do that? It says in the verse, touching him, dining with him. Well, we dine with Krishna every day. We take Krishna Prasad. There's Krishna in his transcendental form. We sit with Krishna every day during japa. Or some of us walk, like this. To get some exercise. We walk with Krishna, we sit with Krishna, we dine with Krishna. We just have to have the consciousness that this is what's happening, that I'm actually with Krishna. I always emphasize that japa means 2 hours or more of intimate association with Krishna. And how intimate it is just depends on how much I want that association. And if we do that, and especially through the agency of devotees, because Srila Prabhupada said again and again and again, better than to try to associate with Krishna is associate with his devotees. Then his association is automatically guaranteed. So the Lord will become prominent in our lives. Once they are, they will go on progressively without stopping, like fire and gunpowder. It is said that Hari, the personality of Godhead, is so transcendently attractive that even those who are self-satisfied by self-realization and are factually liberated from all material bondage also become devotees with the Lord. Who is the sterling example of that? Shukadeva Goswami. He was a nice Karmya. He was totally situated in Brahman. But by hearing and associating with his father, with his womb, he became a devotee and spoke the Bhagavatam. Under the circumstances, it is easily understood what must have been the position of the Pandavas, who were constant companions of the Lord. They could not even think of separation from Sri Krishna, since the attraction was more intense for them because of continuous personal contact. By his remembrance, by his form, quality, name, fame, pastimes, etc., is also attractive for the pure devotee. So much so that he forgets all forms, quality, name, fame, and activities of the mundane world. And due to his mature association with pure devotees, he is not out of contact with the Lord for a moment. So, this association with devotees is the way we can become qualified to care for other devotees. And of course, sometimes we attribute the Para Upakara to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it is actually our tradition, going back as far as we want to go back. Priyavrata was not inclined to do what his father requested of him. He was hearing directly from Sri Narada Muni about detachment. And although detachment is not one of the most popular things nowadays, although everyone practices detachment. Of course, they detach themselves from Krishna and attach themselves to everything that's not, but everyone practices detachment. I always tell people, you're thinking that we're talking about some austerity. You get up early and you go directly to work. You may eat a piece of toast or something and go to work and then come back and you have to deal with the family. The dog is sitting in your chair. Who's the real master? The dog gets the chair for 10 hours a day and you get it for 3. He's definitely in charge. And then you have to deal with all kinds of situations. So much austerity. As Srila Prabhupada said one time, in relation to Sri Narottam Das Thakur's song, that Samsara Vishanale Diva Nisha Divajwale, that because of the wheel of samsara, I'm suffering day and night. But Srila Prabhupada one time explained it. He said, because I am so attracted day and night to samsara, I have no time for Krishna consciousness. So I thought that was a very unique explanation. So they're so attracted to the material world. Therefore, we have to be careful about our attraction to the material world. Because sometimes we think I'm a devotee. And because I'm a devotee, I must be, devotees are pure, therefore I must be a pure devotee. That's like saying, the president is an American, I'm an American, and therefore I'm the president. They're not concentric circles. So the devotee care. Priyavrata was thinking it's more comfortable just to follow Narada Muni, detachment, because he was a pure soul. It was very attractive to him. But Swayam Bhuvavanu said, no, you have to manage the universe. Imagine, we have trouble sometimes managing a temple or a project, or on the GBC body, with people trying to manage devotees in general, and they're trying to manage one's mind. But he's being requested to manage the universe. After just sitting with Narada Muni and hearing and feeling the bliss And Lord Brahma had to come and say, you have to take care of the devotee. Everyone in the universe. Everyone is destined to be a devotee. And a devotee must think like that, just like Chandra Prabhu was saying yesterday. We have to give the seed. There are unlimited hearts that need the seed of bhakti, and we have to give those seeds. For Priyavrata, he didn't welcome it. Just like sometimes some of Srila Prabhupada's instructions or indications may be difficult, so difficult that we may not welcome them. We may be very selective as to what we welcome in Krishna consciousness. Of course, there are varieties of service. And as was mentioned yesterday, very importantly, that one should, will be more productive in Krishna consciousness and will advance quicker if one does what is natural for oneself. But still, there are basic things that we're requested to do, required to do, requested in the beginning and required after initiation. That may not be so attractive, but we have to do that. Shri Prahlad Maharaj, he stated, he said, personally, I have no problem. I have no problem. I have no fear of the material world because because I'm always engaged in serving you and glorifying you. But I have one problem. That I can't turn my back on those who have turned their backs on you. And he says it twice, how foolish these people are. That they and then Maya Sukhaya, they are looking for material happiness by making so many arrangements, and therefore they are bimutha. They're not, Prabhupada said, first class fools. Not just fools, but first class, accomplished fools. And he said, so I cannot do that. Even though spiritual life may be very inviting, that that they are simply, one can be situated nicely in spiritual life and just think about one's own liberation. Maunam Sharati Vijane, one can observe silence, one can wander in the forests, but but without thinking, without being concentrated on benefiting others. And he said, Naitan Vihaya Kripanam. Therefore, I cannot give up the association of the Kripanas. They're Kripanas. They're miserable. Their association is miserable. He's saying that. I understand that. But be moved eko. But I cannot just accept liberation. And why can I do that? Why can I not do that? Nanyat pradasya sharanam brahmato vipashe. Because without your mercy, I cannot see any possible solution for their life. But this is an essential, this is established by Sri Prahlad Maharaj, essential factor for devotee care. And for starting devotee care with just preaching Krishna consciousness, I cannot see any solution for these people without your mercy. So, I remember when I was young, my father never gave me any money. He said, if you want money, you earn it. And he said, he gave this typical speech, when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, I trudged through the snow. I was living in South Texas, so I delivered papers. Okay, I understand. So I had to go out every morning at 4. I got a little training for Krishna consciousness. You get up before 4 o'clock, fold the papers, avoid the dogs, and but the point is that such an endeavor to accomplish something that one wants. So a devotee is always so willing to endeavor to whatever degree necessary to help others, because this material world is one thing is devotee care. Devotee care begins with what Kapila Dev said, Dikshasvar Karunika. That to have Karunika, to have mercy and compassion, first to Diksha, you must have tolerance. Yesterday, it was mentioned that the first instruction that Krishna gave, Ashochasan Vashochasvam, that Arjuna, you're a fool. The same that Lord Chaitanya says in Shikshastika, Vinada Visunichina. Same instruction. And then comes the Dikshastra. And the second instruction, you have to tolerate. This material world is designed to be miserable. And even if you become accustomed to misery, it's like one time I was doing prison programs in Oklahoma. And so I went to the prison and I said, when can you get out of this place? And and one of them said, not so bad. Before I had to go out and steal to eat. Now I get 3 meals a day. And I just have to, stamp a few license plates. That's it. And I said, yes, but that's temporary. And now that you're behaving so nicely, they may let you out, and then you'll have to steal again. So therefore, take this Bhagavad Gita that we spoke about it. I don't know what happened to it afterwards. He kind of disappeared. Things have becoming big. So we never know in our preaching, and as was emphasized yesterday very wonderfully, that we cannot be concerned so much with when Krishna will give them mercy, but do everything possible that people will receive all the possible necessities, paraphernalia, etc., knowledge, understanding, compassion, that they can have the best chance possible. That's what we can do. Krishna will do the rest. He's already planned it out, as he says in Bhagavad Gita. Everything's already determined. I'm just giving you an opportunity to be glorified, because Krishna wants his devotee to be glorified. Krishna wanted Arjuna to be glorified as that the one who won the battle of Kurukshetra, one of the confidants who won the battle. Krishna wanted Ramananda Roy to be glorified as the greatest exponent of the intimate aspects of bhakti. He wanted Rupa and Sanatan, who had been ostracized from Brahminical society, to be the main proponents of Krishna Bhakti. He wanted Sri Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family and considered himself very lowly, to be the Navacharya. So Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they always want their devotees to be glorified. And so, as Srila Prabhupada said, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have liberated the universe. He did, but he initiated that, and he's giving the opportunity to the devotee. And so this is our opportunity for devotee care. To see everyone as spirit soul, to see everyone, and as we discussed yesterday, the essence of understanding Bhagavad Gita, to understand the difference between the soul and the body, that such a difficult thing for most people, even for most of us, to come to that platform where I live with the consciousness that I am not this body. So what a task that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representative Srila Prabhupada has given us. And the more we can do that, the more we can bring other devotees who are coming up in Krishna consciousness by giving association, because either we give association, we associate with devotees who are fixed in Krishna consciousness, or we take association from very advanced devotees. This is Rupa Goswami's formula. We discussed this a few moments at Charyaprabhu yesterday. That the Upadeshamrita, and I'll conclude with it, is the manual for how to conduct devotee care and how to build a community. And actually, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, this was the Upadeshamrita was the last instruction that was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he was in Jagannath Puri preparing to leave, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami came to see him, and he instructed Rupa Goswami, this is what you have to give to people so that they will understand bhakti. And he spoke Upadeshamrita. Yes, Rupa Goswami took it, he elaborated it, and brought it to us so that we can practice Krishna consciousness. So this is all the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and by being his unalloyed servant and keeping this movement focused on him as the Krishna, as the uniting factor, and Srila Prabhupada as the one who points us to that uniting factor constantly in so many wonderful ways through his books, instructions, and his devotees, that we can actually transform the world. In 1974, there was a big problem between Pakistan and India. And Srila Prabhupada said to some of the leaders that there will be a war. Russia will take the side of India, and US will take the side of Pakistan. And what is the concern? Then they came back the next year and they said, Prabhupada, what happened to the war? And Prabhupada said, Krishna changed his mind. He said, because of the Sankirtan. So this Sankirtan movement, we cannot underestimate the value of the Sankirtan movement and how much of a contribution we can make, the best that we can possibly do. I echo some of the things that Charyaprabhu said yesterday because it was so wonderful. And so that's what we have to do in life. There's nothing else to do. Just try to please Krishna, try to please Srila Prabhupada and his representatives, and this Krishna consciousness movement will take over the world, which is the desire of Srila Prabhupada and the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there's actually no alternative. The only alternative is, will I get the opportunity to participate, or will I eliminate my participation by holding on to my attachments to this paltry material world? So those are some thoughts on the subject matter in this verse. Stop here. Any comments or questions? Let's start with
You stated that tolerance is very important. We have to tolerate. And of course, in that verse, that's what he recommends. But there's a saying in the material world, whatever you tolerate, you get more of that. So, is there any truth in that, or?
Well, in one sense, a devotee thinks that way. That the more I tolerate, the more instructions that I'll get from Krishna through the material nature, or through some person that I'm tolerating, some circumstance that I'm tolerating, because I understand that ultimately it's Krishna's mercy. Of course, in one sense, if we get diseased, it's Krishna's mercy, but we have to try to cure ourselves. So, Srila Prabhupada said there are two things that we can't tolerate. That one is, well, he actually said another thing, but one, he said, offenses to the Lord and offenses to the Lord's devotee. That we cannot tolerate. And he also said, we can't tolerate that someone interferes with our devotional service. Otherwise, we can tolerate many things, but if someone tries to take away our service, then we should tolerate. We should find a solution. So, but tolerance is, I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions it as the second factor of developing an attachment for the Holy Name. Because if we don't tolerate it, how can we give Krishna consciousness to others? Because, as I mentioned, as Prahlad Maharaj mentioned, they're creeping up. So it's very easy, if people have so many bad habits and everything, it's very easy to not tolerate and in a justified way. This person is. But I always remember Jayanti, how tolerant people are. If I had very little association, you probably have a lot more here in trouble. I mean, he was extremely tolerant. And look at how much mercy Krishna gave him and Srila Prabhupada gave him. For that tolerance. So it's a very important thing. Many people say, yeah, but then people will take advantage of me. But if I'm serving Krishna sincerely with all my heart and soul, then how can anyone take advantage? And of course, I want Krishna to take advantage of me. I want his devotees to take advantage of me as much as they want. But anyway, it's a very important thing.
When I think of devotee care, I think of self-care, and I think of being personal with devotees. So this pressure of residing within the material world and maintaining our Krishna consciousness, it creates a lot of pressure. And sometimes that can get in the way of these two things, self-care and being personal with devotees. So I just was sharing that reflection. I wanted to see if you could speak a little bit more on that.
Well, what is self-care? Otherwise, practicing Krishna consciousness to the degree that Srila Prabhupada recommends, or that our acharyas recommend, is the greatest self-care. And that self-care will allow us to have more personal association with the Lord. I would say, actually, the demands of Krishna consciousness, of course, as Charya Prabhu said yesterday, we can only do as much as we can do. If we do that to the highest degree possible, Krishna will recognize it, and Krishna will arrange things in our lives that we can, so that we can progress in Krishna consciousness. Being very personal with devotees, I don't see how being strictly practicing Krishna consciousness stops us from being personal, unless we misinterpret what is required of us.
It becomes mechanical, or if we become mechanical in our practice.
Well, mechanical, yeah, we shouldn't be mechanical. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said, a little mechanical in the beginning may be required. But then, as was also mentioned yesterday, the more that we see our Krishna consciousness as a relationship with Krishna, the more personal it becomes. Just like the verse we read, how personal was the relationship of the Pandavas with Krishna? How they couldn't live, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not be separated from Lord Jagannath. So the more we practice Krishna consciousness correctly, not mechanically, but correctly, which means establishing our personal relationship with Krishna through his devotion, then that is an essential factor. And that will stop it from being mechanical. The more we associate with Vaishnavas, the more that it will not be mechanical. Because we'll learn from them, we'll be inspired by them. I've always analyzed, what is the essential factor of association? It is that you can see abstracts become a reality, like intelligence. Intelligence is abstract until you see it manifested in someone, or some other quality, humility. When we associate with devotees and we see real humility in a purified, in a pure devotee, or a devotee who's very pure, then we can understand humility. Otherwise, to explain humility Like theoretically, it's not, it doesn't sink in. As much as just seeing it manifested in the life of the devotee. And therefore, all the good qualities of Vaishnavas are manifested through the association of devotees. Sarvarguna took the samasthis for that. When we practice Krishna consciousness purely by associating with pure devotees, then we acquire all the qualities that found in the demigods or in the great devotees of the Lord.
So I'm sorry, but just another expression that folks in the material world is that the family that prays together stays together.
Mhm.
It just seems relevant. A lot of times we think of association of devotees as when we're just hanging out and shooting the breeze and talking and everything like that, but I think the real intimate association, at least with Prabhupada, is through his morning program and chanting Guruprasad and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting Japa and those kind of things. That and when you associate with devotees like that, then your association outside of that can be very much more productive.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. How can I disagree when it's what Prabhupada asked us to do? And then you could just throw some rotten tomatoes at me. Well, so thank you all very much for your attention and for tolerating me. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Sai Gauravanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.